We're up early this morning at Davidson's to fly back to Darwin. From Darwin, we catch a commercial flight to Kununurra. In Kununurra, we're now officially in the Kimberley. Kununurra is at the eastern boundary of the Kimberley region. It's time for a late lunch and some Australian beer at the Kununurra Country Club. Our next stop is Bungle National Park, just outside of Kununurra. The unusual sandstone formations are a good introduction to the geology of the Kimberley. The rocks were formed from sediments deposited in a primordial sea about 350 million years ago. The rocks are protected by thin layers of gray-black cyanobacteria and orange iron oxide, basically rust. A wide variety of native plants line the walkways. The flowers attract insects. A trail takes us to the top of one of the rock formations for a panoramic view of the Hidden Valley, which is the other name for this national park. Then it's back to the bus with a few minutes to admire this baobab tree with leaves. That only happens during the wet season. We're on the way to Lake Argyle. This is Spillway Bridge over Spillway Creek, which is, you guessed it, the spillway for the dam that creates Lake Argyle. We find our cabin at the Lake Argyle Caravan Park. That's trailer park in American English. Nothing fancy, but the best around. But enjoying the fantastic sunset with a glass of Australian wine in hand makes it all worthwhile. On the way back from dinner, Sherry spots a snake, and that makes her day. The official name is not very exciting, but the night tiger is much more interesting. In the morning, we do a little bird watching. Then a stop at the Argyle Homestead Museum. The centerpiece is the Durack Homestead. It was originally located where the deepest part of Lake Argyle is today. It was taken apart stone by stone and rebuilt here. But the star of the show is this great bowerbird. The males build these elaborate bowers and decorate them with bright pieces of plastic and colored rocks in order to attract a mate. The female builds an inconspicuous nest and raises the young alone. The male displays in front of his bower, raising his pink and purple crest. Next, we board the Kimberley Durack for a cruise on Lake Argyle. It's Australia's second largest man-made lake. It's part of the Ord River irrigation project. The Ord River Dam was completed in 1971. It's 1,100 feet long and 322 feet high. It's an earth-filled dam. The lake is named for the cattle station that it submerged, Argyle Downs, which belonged to the Durack family. Lake Argyle has a surface area of 390 square miles and a storage capacity of 380 billion cubic feet of water, making it the largest reservoir in Australia. A new ecosystem has evolved. Lake Argyle is now home to 26 species of native fish and 150,000 waterbirds. Wallabies inhabit many of the islands in the lake, and it's a great place for a swim. After our cruise, we take a close look at the Ord River Dam. That's the Ord River below, and our ride back to Kununurra. It's impressive to think that this dam of rock and dirt is holding back so much water. We board the Osprey for our ride on the Ord River. The dam changed the Ord River too. The flow is now more consistent and not seasonal, and the current is much slower. One thing that hasn't changed is the magnificent rock formations that line the gorge. By the river's bank, we see some of the local inhabitants. As we near Kununurra, the gorge widens and flattens. The sun's golden rays light up Elephant Rock. After breakfast, we're back at Kununurra Airport. We board our chartered Cessna caravans. We're off for a flight to Purnululu National Park, better known as the Bungle Bungles. We fly over the Ord River Diversion Dam, which provides irrigation water to the Kununurra area. Indian sandalwood is a big money crop here. Different views of Elephant Rock on the Ord River. The Ord River Gorge, where we were yesterday. Spillway Creek as it leaves Lake Argyle. There's the Ord River and Lake Argyle Caravan Park and the Ord River Dam. From the air, we get a whole different perspective on Lake Argyle and its islands. We've reached the southern end of Lake Argyle. More amazing geology. We're over the Bungle Bungle Range. These remote rock formations had a cultural significance to the Aboriginal people for thousands of years. The rest of Australia and the world became aware of them through a TV documentary in 1983. In 1987, Purnululu National Park was established to protect these fragile rock formations. In 2003, the park was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site, citing the outstanding example of cone-karst sandstone of great beauty and exceptional geological interest. On approach to Bellburn Airstrip in Purnululu National Park, we're eager to get a close look at those incredible rocks. It's an amazing and unique landscape. It's hard to imagine how the regular bands were formed. The colors come from cyanobacteria for black and gray and iron oxide for orange. We learned that back in Kununurra at the Hidden Valley National Park. But the explanation of the regular alternating bands on cone-shaped rocks must be more complicated. So it's time to hit the trail and see this phenomena close up. The sandstone is composed of sediment deposited 375 to 350 million years ago. The combined effects of wind and rainfall over millions of years shaped the domes. Weathering also had a role. Water seeps into the rock and expands on the cool nights. This creates small cracks in the rock. The banding is due to differences in the clay content and porosity of the sandstone layers. The orange bands of iron oxide are in layers that dry out too quickly to support the cyanobacteria. The gray-black layers are layers where moisture accumulated and the cyanobacteria can grow. We're headed to Cathedral Gorge. The gorge gets narrower and the walls get higher. It's a huge natural amphitheater with great acoustics. But no one was willing to try their singing voice. We enjoyed our lunch in the cool shade of the amphitheater. Took a few more pictures to remember this place by. Then it's time to head back. Through the narrow gorge to the magnificent view at the head of the gorge. I'm glad this place is a national park and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's just too amazing to be lost or forgotten. Our planes are waiting to take us back to Connemara. The pilots give us one long last look at the Bungles. Just south of Lake Argyle is the Argyle Diamond Mine, the largest producer of diamonds in the world by volume. Then we're back to Lake Argyle. So before we know it, we're back over the sandalwood plantations in Coonawarra. In the morning, we take a quick look at a sandalwood plantation on the ground and a stop at the sandalwood factory for some souvenirs. Then it's back to the airport for our flight to Broome.